I don't even know what we're laughing at this point.
I mean, I just want to know what we're going to be ready. Oh, wait, we're going live. So
Yes, we
that's
are.
what we're being.
We are
Oh,
live.
see, when it comes to me, there are two different kinds of ready, y'all. Like, there's the ready when we're going live, and then there's the ready, like, are you ready?
Well, that's why like in like the TV, you always see them go in 5, 4.
Welcome to this week's Trekker's Delight as we review the 6th episode of season 4 of Lower Decks, Parth Ferengi's Heart Place.
I like
Roll
how
that
Keith is.
beautiful bean footage.
Roll the intro. Intro. Welcome back.
I like how Keith was just channeling his inner Marie at that moment.
No comment on that. But we do wish Marie a speedy recovery, and we hope to have her back on here soon.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
Hey,
Yo,
Colton. How's it
Welcome back,
going?
Colton.
I want to know what people say in other languages for like stuff like yo.
Hi.
No, that's other languages.
Hello.
Yo works in several languages.
Hola.
So, Jason, do you have a recap for us?
Kaka.
Sure. Let's do a recap for Parth Ferengi's Heart Place.
Yes, I would love to
Uh,
hear
Episode
Jason's
6
version.
of Lower Decks, season 3. Are we up? Season 4, I
4.
think we are.
We in 4.
So, properly enough, we open up with a Ferengi starship, which is kind of cool because the whole show is Ferengi. But we continue on this journey of this mysterious spaceship that is firing and everything. Um, I like how they open up and they immediately start with sort of Easter eggs. They start off talking about they give you the line of Ram's Grand Nagus, and they talk about the Genesis project. And seemingly enough, one of the crewmen of the Ferengi starship knows that this alien ship is coming. We will talk about that later. So this alien starship does what it does, and it just destroys the Ferengi starship. Um, so that's a Vulcan ship, right? We'll talk about all that later.
A Klingon, a Romulan, an Orion, and
Yeah.
a Ferengi ship.
Right. So let's go to the Cerritos, who is parked in orbit around Ferenginar. Why? Because the Ferengi are going to sign an admission into Starfleet, and the Cerritos is there to facilitate that. We got Captain Freeman and Admiral Bassery, who are in charge of signing Grand Nagus Ram and Lita into the Federation. Uh, Meanwhile, our lower decks crew are junior grade lieutenants, who we originally know as the lower decks crew. They have to go down and they have to update the travel guide for Ferenginar. So Mariner goes down, Rutherford and Tindy go down, and they have to pretend to be husband and wife to sort of
Mm.
infiltrate this Ferengi hotel, which is crazy because they're so close together and they think it's going to be so fun for them to be husband and wife, but they really find out that like it's kind of weird and icky with them being actually husband and wife, especially when they bring up
Mhm.
seeing each other naked. So they go down and they have to sort of put on this charade in front of the Ferengi, who are now they're at this Starfleet themed restaurant, and it's this really posh place, and the Ferengi are just like hammering at them that they're married, and they're putting them in the spotlight, and they make them have romantic dinners and talk great about each other, and it really hits the head when they say, "Okay, now it's time to consummate your marriage in this Federation shuttlecraft in the restaurant." Luckily, Dr. Bird comes in and sees them and is like, "Hey, you guys aren't married," and then they use that to sort of be like, um, uh, You've always tried." They use that to say, "You've always tried to interfere in our relationship, and now we get a divorce." It's kind of weird how it happens, but they sort of use that sort of situation to get out of the situation because they find out that anybody that lies about being married in this hotel are severely punished. Not killed, but they send them off to an unhappy place. So meanwhile, Mariner, she goes down and she meets up with one of her Ferengi friends, Quimp, and they go out and they go to a bar. Mariner gets slammed, and so apparently I don't know what their history, but apparently they knew each other. And Mariner gets slammed. They starts a by a bar fight, and Quimp is just like, "Dude, what is wrong with you? Grow up," whatever that means. Um, so apparently Mariner is still in this cycle of like destroying herself, no matter uh, keeping herself down from ranks. And Quimp is like the most level-headed Ferengi I've ever seen in my life, and he points this out to her. He's like, "Dude, grow up. Like, I don't understand why you are acting like this. You need to figure out what's going on with yourself." Boimler, meanwhile, who is an overachiever, is like, "I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna check out so many places, and I'm gonna fill that travel guide up." But he ends up just watching Ferengi TV the whole time that he's down there, and doesn't do anything. But he just gets sucked into what is it, cop landlords and whatever shows. So back on the Cerritos, uh, Captain Freeman and Admiral Vassery are trying to get Rom to sign this admission into Starfleet, and Rom is just throwing at him like all these. He's just changing everything, all these stipulations. Okay, we want to change this, we want to change that, and Admiral Vassery is just like, "Okay, we'll change it, just sign it. We'll change it, we'll sign it. We'll change it, we'll sign it." And Captain Freeman's like, "What the hell is going on?" No. So she ends up sort of making her own change into it and says, "We'll give you everything you want, and all you have to do is bring another planet into the Federation or into whatever." I think into the Federation.
Yes.
So they agree, and the thing is he didn't read the fine print, and the fine print ended up being that it had to be Kronos, which they were never ever going to be able to do themselves. And but they were so impressed by her conniving, swindling of that little thing that what is this dude doing? Um, they end up signing the treaty for its original parameters. They just did not want to really. Grand Negus Rom didn't want to sign a treaty with someone who didn't know anything about haggling and didn't understand that they were being haggled because they kind of looked down upon that. And then we end the show with Rutherford and Tindy in the Jeffries tube on top of each other, as comfortable as can be. The end. It was a good episode. I was just disappointed that we didn't see any uh, naked Ferengi women, but maybe Grand Negus Rom has changed all that.
Yeah, Grand Negus Rom changed that. In fact, that was Grand Negus Zek changed that before he stepped down. That was in the final season of Deep Space Nine. But there is someone major that was not in this episode at all.
The Vulcan.
T'Lyn, yeah. We have no T'Lyn. After having a T'Lyn-focused episode last week, no T'Lyn to be seen this week.
I think a T'Lyn-focused season almost.
She's taking an emotional poop right now.
Well, considering this is her first season on the show, technically, yeah. But it's just odd to have such a strong T'Lyn episode last week and then have her nowhere this week.
Right. So let's start from the beginning and talk about this one Ferengi that knew that the ship was coming.
Jeef, yes.
I found out that, like, I guess we don't get any real explanation of that because how do you?
Yeah, he was promised. He's upset that Rom told Ferengi to get out of the arms business, and he apparently made this ship, gave up the position of his ship for the mystery ship to attack because they promised him profit. But now he's going to die just like all the others.
Yep. Ram
And
is picking up things in the Ferengi world.
Yep. Well, we did finally close the circle that was hinted at the first episode of season 2 of Picard, when you had Picard speaking at Starfleet Academy, and they had the flags of the Federation, and the Ferengi flag was there. So it hinted that the Ferengi had joined the Federation.
Because at this point, this is like 15 years before Picard, right?
Yes. So some people were guessing it was only there because there have been Ferengi members of Starfleet, with Nog being the first one. But no, now we know Ferengi are in the Federation. So, and by the way, good to hear the return of Max Krodenchik and Chase Masterson in their roles as Rom and Lita.
She didn't sound like her. I was thinking about that. I was like, she doesn't sound like her. Is that the same person?
Well,
Yes,
maybe
but that was 20 years ago.
I was about to say, 20 years later.
She's not a double girl anymore.
Yep.
Right.
It's not she is first clerk of the Ferengi consortium.
I'll be honest, like in the first few minutes, I was like, is that really Nog? Like, because that didn't sound like him. And then as it progressed, I'm like, yeah, that's Nog.
Like him.
So let me ask everyone this question. Of course, Quark just repeatedly, don't worry, Jermaine, I'm going to be nice. Quark repeatedly called Rom an idiot throughout like all of Deep Space Nine. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will admit, Rom had his moments socially,
sorry,
but he was an engineering genius at the end of the day. So that being said, was he like playing that dumb role on Deep Space Nine the same way he was clearly playing it on Lower Decks? Like he just wanted to see who would treat him a certain way?
Yes.
You think so? On Deep Space Nine, you think he was?
Oh, yes.
I think so, because it's like he stood up for his son when he needed to stand up for his son. He stood up against his brother when he needed to. He formed a union. Like he did a lot of things. Like, and it's just socially he's just not quite there. But then again, I don't know if he's doing that on purpose.
I thought he was doing it on purpose, just so that he could run rings around Quark. Quark, because Quark thought he was slow, stupid, an idiot, he was able to do some things that Quark never knew he was doing, like stealing his money.
Yeah, because Rom had a lot saved. Like I think even Quark was surprised. Like, where'd you get this money from?
I always thought Rom act like that because he was just always intimidated, and he had like this internal genius and smartness in him, but it didn't quite fit the criteria of what he thought he should be, and he was just intimidated by Quark and the rest of the Ferengi because he wasn't the same. It just caused him to act out and act really stupid because he didn't know how to act.
It definitely seems to be a mixture of not being socially awkward, but there is definitely a lot of conniving there, and we saw flashes of it throughout the series where it became clear that he wasn't being 100% true in some of his goofiest moments. Like he played the goof to be endearing to others. Like when he first joined another level of the engineering crew, and he shows up where they're all having breakfast. He's like, "So what are we having for breakfast?" Like, he's being the goof because he's trying to get in with the group. And
so now that we have an update on Quark, Lita, and now Nog, now Rom, do you think that we'll hear something on Nog, like something? Like maybe
I would like to see him. I mean, they would have to get somebody to do his voice. Obviously, actually, they don't have to get somebody else to do his voice. Actually,
I mean, like he died in battle or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like when he became captain,
they got AI now. They can do his voice. That's in the.
I think
in
they
the works.
can. I don't think they can now because of everything that's been agreed on. I don't think they can.
They would have to buy it from somebody, who's ever.
His family would have to consent to it.
Yeah.
Remember, the Screen Actors Guild has not ended their strike yet, so there is no agreement on that yet. And the use of AI is a major part of it. After we saw in movies like Rogue One and Avengers, Endgame, others, where they brought back people that either were no longer with us or were not willing to return, so they had other people taking the place of people who had died. Or
Well,
people
I mean,
dying.
the point is that they could do it. I
Yeah.
mean, they would just have to buy it from his family or whoever.
Have we ever done that in Star Trek before?
Yes. Well,
Probably
Star
the
Trek
computer.
specifically.
yes. Yeah, Michelle Barrett. She
Probably the
returned
computer.
for the final episodes of season 3 of Picard
Oh, come
as
on.
the voice of the computer.
You mean that's a computer voice? That don't.
Yeah.
Does that
No,
count?
it's a person.
No, because
It's a person.
Michelle Barrett recorded a phonetic library so that her voice could be used as the voice of the computer going forward. And for some
She did.
reason, they chose not to because it would cost too much, but they were willing to pay for it for that final 2 episodes of Picard.
So,
Well-
yeah. Go ahead, Jermaine. please.
Well, I was going to change the subject, but keep going.
I had a question. Where can I get her voice so I can make my Alexa sound like the computer's voice so I can stop saying Alexa? I want to say computer. Like
You can say computer. You don't have to say Alexa.
Yeah,
I know,
you
but
can
I
say
want
whatever
to
you
hear
want.
Majel though.
Well, right now, Majel isn't signed to do it, and I believe Amazon is cutting the voices that they have because you did have Samuel Jackson on there.
Right. We had Samuel Jackson calling me MFer every time I made the wrong turn on a
Well,
GPS.
wasn't he getting paid for that?
Yeah, of course he was.
Right.
But yeah, Amazon is
I would love to get paid
Turning
by
back
Google.
on
That's
those.
a lot of money. Okay, last
Look,
I have a question. Yeah, go ahead, Jermaine. It's your turn. It's your turn.
No, I just wanted to say, like, maybe it's because Quark is in my head, but every other Ferengi that I saw all sounded like Quark.
I mean, because Rom is different. He's definitely different.
well. I believe Chief in the
I don't
opening
think
was Eugene Cordero, Sam,
Mm.
the same voice actor that's Sam Rutherford, and the other Ferengi that he was talking to was voiced by Don Lewis, who's Captain Freeman.
Really?
But like Quimp, who we first met in season 1, when they went to what was the name of the world? Boimler was assigned diplomatic duty to transport a Klingon to Federation in embassy, and he ended up getting drunk with Mariner, and Quimp did a favor for Mariner to attack them, and so Boimler could save the day. But yeah, so that Ferengi's returning now, and that Ferengi is voiced by Tom Kenny, also known as SpongeBob.
Oh,
I knew that voice sounded familiar.
And he voiced several Ferengi throughout the episode, including the Ferengi announcer on the TV shows.
So now we can say that SpongeBob was on Star Trek.
Yes, several times now.
yeah, I can hear that actually.
And the Ferengi Parth, that was the guy running the hotel, and the what was it, Concierge? That's Dave Foley from News Radio and Kids in the Hall.
Oh,
I'll be right back.
wow, that's an old show. You gotta look that up.
Well, okay.
Anyway, I like how Rom and Lita present Captain Freeman and the Admiral with a gift, and then proceed to give them an invoice for the gift.
Well, that is so on brand for Ferengi, though.
That's
The fact that the Dominion War Memorial is a memorial to all the lost assets from the
Yeah.
war.
it shows how much money each one of them lost.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Mariner even says it. You, Frankie, you stick to it. You go all the way.
You know what I really liked about this episode? The fact that Captain Freeman took the time to actually learn all of Ferengi's rules of acquisition and used it to best Rom and Lita.
Yep.
Well, she pointed it out that they were playing, was it dumb cop, reasonable cop? Not good cop, bad cop. Dumb cop, reasonable cop.
But she saw it coming in that, but the Admiral was just kind of like, okay, just sign. I mean, why would he want them in? So why did they want them in the Federation so bad?
Because it's canon to what happens in Discovery.
Yeah. Well, no,
it's after Discovery.
No, I mean, if you're an admiral, Being
Oh
able
well,
to be the one to say, "I brought Ferenginar into the Federation." That's a feather in your
Mhm.
cap. I mean, you want those
Mhm.
opportunities.
I also thought it was kind of cool. Little side note: what we would see if what the Cerritos would look like if it was sovereigned up.
Oh, the Parliament class USS Toronto that we saw.
It was
right.
clean. That was a
Yeah.
clean ship.
Well, we saw a Parliament class previously, the USS Vancouver in season 2. So, and the ship literally parked right above the Cerritos.
What was the Toronto doing there? Was it transporting the admiral there?
That's the Admiral ship.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
I have another question. Do we think Boimler and what's her name? The main chick,
Mariner.
Mariner?
Mariner. Do we think their storylines have gotten repetitive?
Mariners definitely has.
Mariners has because
I
it's
think
actually the whole
I
point
think
was that she hasn't grown, and
well
they've been doing that for a while.
maybe that was the purpose of today's episode was to call out that repetitiveness, to call out that behavior.
Except we
Because
But they
had
did
that
that 2 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago in I Have No Bones, But Still I Flee, when she tried to
right.
sabotage her promotion.
Right. So are we gonna get into some sort of backstory? I know she spent time in the Dominion War and on Deep Space Nine, but it's like, is something gonna happen in this season where we find out what the hell is going on with Mariner? Because she's been doing this ever since season one, and they've been tiptoeing around the issue. And I feel like someone knows, but
Yeah.
I don't know who, because I feel like her mother doesn't even know. Like, why is she
Well,
acting like this?
we now know that she crashed an Oberth class starship, so that's one of the reasons she got demoted.
What does an Oberth class starship looks like? That sounds like a
Do
big
you remember
baby.
the Grissom from Star Trek 3, the Search for Spock?
Yeah, the one with the bottom
A
part.
yeah, a next generation version of that starship was the Oberth class.
She crashed a ship. That
Yeah.
ship.
Yes, one of those ships.
The next generation of that ship.
Yes, at least
I
that's
think
what Quip says that she did, and she didn't dispute it. So
I think she just doesn't want responsibility.
No,
Like
it's not that. She can
oh
handle
no, she definitely
responsibility.
doesn't want
she
responsibility.
no, she doesn't want it. She likes Starfleet, but she doesn't want the responsibility of
Yeah,
everything being on her.
yeah, she has the rules memorized so that she knows what she can slack on.
Right.
Like
But,
she,
but why run back to
She,
Starfleet
because
repeatedly?
she likes Starfleet, and she actually likes being in charge sometimes when she wants to be in charge.
yeah,
She doesn't want that all the time, and she doesn't want the responsibility of everything all the time. She wants it on her
So
terms.
I think the better question is what was two questions. One, what was the highest rank she ever achieved? And B, what happened in that moment that made her just drop 3 ranks to come back down to ensign?
she's. It's been implied that she's gotten up to a full lieutenant. So,
Mm.
but she's been up and down so much that if she would have just gone up, she would be a captain by now. But and of course we found out that Rutherford turned down enough promotions that he could be a captain right now as well.
That's way faster than Tuvok.
Yep, there is your Oberth class,
Oh, so she crashed that ship.
one of those ships. Yes.
Mm.
That's a science vessel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, science class, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
technically, all of their ships are supposed
I,
to be.
I,
science,
I was gonna
yeah,
say,
supposed
aren't
to
all
be.
their ships science vessels?
Yeah. But
I
by
mean,
the way,
yeah.
the title of this episode is based off the British comedy horror miniseries Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Ah,
So they specifically were playing off of that comedy show with the title. I think they kind of stretch it. I mean, obviously the name of the character for the Ferengi Hugsiers was Parth. But
Mhm.
well, Parth means someone who always hits their mark.
Mhm.
That's what Parth means.
Mhm.
I don't know about
Speaking
the
of
rest
hitting
of
their
it.
mark, is this the first show other than cross interspecies relationships? Is this the first show where we saw a Star Trek species have like a homosexual relationship? I know
Um,
y'all know I know y'all know what
I
I'm
know.
talking about.
wait,
No,
what homosexual? First of all, what homosexual relationship?
Oh,
On one,
well, yeah, no. I want Jason to figure it out. You missed it. It was pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
In this episode,
Yes,
yeah,
blatantly clear.
I completely missed that.
I'm watching it as just as much as I'm watching you right now.
Oh, was it on the TV show?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, the soap opera show where everyone is
Yes.
secretly in love with everyone else. Got some pizza there, William.
I like how they just said it for me. Hey, there's a pizza there, William. Thanks. That's a pretty thick pizza. That's big and thick. Like, okay. Like, thanks. I appreciate that.
But no, we've seen same-sex relationships in other cultures because obviously the most famous one
For
being
$57,
Brazil, was
that'd be a
rejoined with Jadzia and Lenora Khan.
Oh yeah.
But
I want some
Y'all-
pizza,
I mean, come on. You know how I like my meat, right?
bro.
William,
I
we
don't even know
discussed
what you're talking about.
I mean, as long as you're not disgusted, we can discuss anything, you know.
This just means I'm disgusting, but it's not me. I'm just.
I know, but it's whether or not it's disgusting is irrelevant. But whether we discussed it is like a whole different topic, you know. And Keith is right; we did discuss it, but as long as he's not disgusted, then it's all good. Would y'all like
moving
to
on.
Right. So, do we see Cindy and Rutherford actually getting together on this show, or
Well,
not?
that's been the ship since the season 1 that people have been wanting them together as a couple.
Apparently, Cerritos is the horniest.
Yeah, that is pretty on the mark. Knowing that, well, the thing is, saying that there are no married crewmen, you have a couple though. You have Shax and Deanna.
Right, but they're just like doing the thing though.
Well, maybe about 2 episodes ago, he said that she was his girlfriend.
Yeah, and I believe an upcoming episode implies that there is going to be a wedding on board ship. From the title, to track that down from the link that we got the titles from.
You know what? I don't remember how Shax came back.
There was a dark mountain. He just
they
came
never
back.
said how he came back.
Yeah.
Well, no,
they never said that.
He told Rutherford, but we didn't hear what he said.
He told Rutherford what death was.
Well,
right?
but he also told him how he came back to life. So.
Oh.
And Rutherford was pretty well shooken up by.
I'd like to see more of Rutherford's journey of his cybernetics. We haven't seen any of that in season 4.
Right. Next week's episode, a few badgies more.
Oh, I was just gonna say something about Badgie too.
Yeah, we do have to return a Badgie next week.
That sounds like a Rutherford episode.
Yep.
It's me, Badgie.
How many episodes do we have this season?
10. So we are now 6/10 of the way through. So we only have 4 episodes left.
So I would hope that by episode 9 we have more on what's happening with this ship.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the Ferengi ship being attacked is what drove the Ferengi to join the Federation.
No, I think there was 2 separate instances.
No, not at all. They specifically said that.
Oh, they did say they have been being attacked. Yes, they said that.
Yeah, that Grand Nagus Rom wanted to join with the Federation for the added security with the frequent ship disappearances.
Oh, and just so you know that 6/10 is 3/5.
Yes. But so we are led to believe that there's actually been many more ship disappearances than we've seen. We've seen 4, but it looks like there's been many more. And the Cerritos is definitely on the trail because when they went to Orion 2 weeks ago, right after an Orion ship was destroyed, and then went to Ferengi this week, right after a Ferengi ship was destroyed.
You know, one thing about Star Trek is that, well, for one thing, it's nice that they keep showing this ship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about Star Trek is they've run into so many things once, right? Like they've had so many. I mean, Q showed up like twice a year. But it's just so many instances where they run into something one time and just never see that thing ever again.
Well, space is big, so that's possible. And remember, we're usually only seeing it through the window of one specific ship.
Right.
So the chances, I mean, the Pac-Leds only saw the Enterprise once, but then every ship after that, oh no, another Enterprise.
Right.
Well,
Janeway.
Keith, the last time I was on, in my head, I was just like, okay, Keith's theory has got to be true. But on this particular episode, what we found out was what happened with the Ferengi happened prior to most of what we saw in this particular episode. So can we assume that they're not following the Cerritos?
It doesn't.
Maybe we could assume that.
Wait, who is not following the Cerritos?
The mystery ship.
Oh,
It's not following the Cerritos, but it's definitely working in the same area of space that the Cerritos is operating in. And the Cerritos seems to be spending all their time in Beta Quadrant.
Hello to the 5 people that are watching.
5.
Yeah, remember
there's
to like,
5.
subscribe, and leave your comments below.
Please do comment.
And William will answer.
Yeah, we only got 4 more episodes of Lower Decks left, so we could use some ideas of what we're going to do once this season is over. Because Prodigy is not yet returning. So
Yes,
save Star Trek Prodigy.
And I can only dress up as an Orion slave once for Halloween, so you're going to have to think of something.
Hey, Morgan.
Hello,
So,
Morgan.
Colton wants a Talin-focused series.
Maybe a spinoff.
We've already have a whole series.
Yeah,
like a whole spinoff. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Where would she be? Would she be on the Cerritos, or would she be back on the Vulcan ship? What you call that ship?
The
Science Academy?
The Vulcan Science ship.
You know what? I would love to see more of Vulcan, to be honest.
Yes.
Well, it would be interesting to have a Star Trek ship, not a Star Trek series, not based in Starfleet.
Right. Yeah. But outside of Prodigy, that would be great.
Well, but you're still on a Starfleet.
Prodigy is still technically based. I guess it's the most off Starfleet show that they've had.
Yes.
I would definitely like to see, like, after the events of Romulus being destroyed, the events leading up to the integration of Romulans and Vulcans.
Yeah, we got 1,000 years to get to that. So
a movie at least.
A good live action cast.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, Gabriel Ruiz does not look like Talin the same way that Noel Wells looks like Tendi, and
Spock is in the Abrams side right now.
Why are you talking about?
Bring T'Pol back.
She dead. She did.
No, she's not.
She wouldn't be dead. She would be like
dead. She dead.
It should only be in her, upper hundreds by this time. So.
No.
T'Pol.
She's very young.
Sarek was 200 years old by the time TNG came around,
she would be 100 some odd years old.
She would be 300. Like,
no. Okay. For to be on Lower Decks now, yes.
To be as far as Lower Decks.
She could appear on Strange New Worlds and be in her upper hundreds, but yeah, you're talking 140 years later.
Because Sarek was like 196 or something like that when he died.
No, he was 200 plus.
200 plus. So, and since we know that Enterprise took place 100 years before Kirk, then she'd be like bouncing on 300 right now, right?
I think we should pull like enemies like the Suliban out. Or
I think we have enough of the Suliban.
Yeah. Even though that one dude, I forgot his name, he was so sassy. He reminds me of someone I saw at a gay bar.
Really?
What about the Xindi?
Yeah,
I mean, we
they're
heard
in a different part of the galaxy.
No, they're in this section of the galaxy.
I mean,
we had the Prodigy. We had Xindi reptilioids on Prodigy.
And Mariner did reference them, even though it was just a reference. She said, "I was kind of hoping for a Xindi cabal."
Mm-hmm.
I watched an animated show, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the Xindi." It wasn't them, but it was like a species. They had like an aerial species.
So, the Xindi is a collection of reptilian and aquatic species. But since they broke up after the events of Enterprise, why are they still called the Xindi?
What else are we gonna call them?
because
I
they
mean,
all originated. They named themselves as Zindi. They all originated from the same
right,
like
but they
same
broke up. But they
origin.
broke up though, right?
But they're
I thought
still
they broke
Zindi.
up.
I mean,
Sort of.
you still be human
There's
if you
Zindi
left.
colonies. Well, remember the original
Right,
Zindi
but
homeworld was
you had
destroyed.
right. You had the water people, then you had the cockroaches, and then you had the ant, and,
The
and
aquatics,
you
the
had
insectoids,
like
the
it's a
humanoids, the
whole
mammalians.
like it's
The
a whole
mammals,
thing. The
insectoids,
mammals, like these
reptilians.
were straight up animals. I am pretty sure the Zindi was the one who sent that thing in the voyage home for the whales. These
No.
are and I'm pretty sure.
That's
And we have a
that's another
cat,
thing
Zindi
we've
were
never.
like
no species. By the way.
That's
like
another thing
like
we've never seen again. We've
I'm
never seen that
I'm
probe
just
for the whales
saying
again.
these were straight up animals,
And
and you
no,
could
and
tell
nobody
they had a
followed that thing to figure out where it came from.
I
Yeah.
know they
Right.
had a low budget, but baby, when I tell you that species, other than the Oga whale that's on Cerritos right now, I forgot his name. Like, look, like
It was
The dolphins?
it was a
the
Moa Moa,
dolphins.
a Moa
Yeah,
Moa.
yeah,
Oh,
but
they're
these were
beluga
like big
whales.
ones. This fish was so big. I'm trying to figure out. Like, it doesn't matter how I figure it out, but I'm trying to figure. They got a whole ship, right? And it's so big that it engulfed the Enterprise in X-01. So is that big? So to me, we know it's out there. So these are animal-based species. Now you and I both know that it's because they were broke and they didn't have any time to think of any other species. But
Most species are animal based.
yeah, yes, but these were earth animal based. These were so specific. I literally saw an ant. It was an ant. It was an ant. Like
Well,
you can't get around that.
Okay.
well, they've always put out there that there are similarities between all the species, intelligent species throughout the galaxy.
We are not gonna talk about that Voyager episode right now.
It was a
Okay.
No,
nice
it's
generation.
Not just
Next-
Voyager episode,
next
but also
generation.
an Enterprise as
Are
well.
you talking about the dinosaurs? But I'm talking about
The next generation
Next
episode.
generation.
Next generation, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, the chase, I think it's
Yeah.
called. Okay,
Yes.
good episode. Very good episode. But yeah, these species were straight up animals. Like, and we are all animals by definition. I'm not
Yes.
disputing that. But these were like
But
very
these were
specific.
Right, yes, they were sentient species based on the main familiar groups of classification.
Right. So if the whole thing just went to boot over what happened, why end done finished kaput? Like what? Why are they still called the Zindi now? Or am I missing something? And the reptilians just call themselves the Zindi because I didn't
No,
see any of
What else
they're
are they
all
gonna
Zindi.
call
Why would they
themselves?
All
change?
Zindi.
Yeah.
Why would they throw away thousands of years
That's
of
their common
culture?
origin as being
Come up
Zindi.
with
That's the common origin.
because this is more so a question. It's more so a question because you have the Federation, which is a collection of different species in a unified group. All right, cool. But I'm still human, right?
Yes.
Right.
So or
But you
Terran.
still call
or
yourself
Terran.
you still call yourself human or Terran, even though you and Keith are different, like skinned, right? You're not going to
Right,
just say, well, we're
right. But
completely
these were
different
totally
people.
different species. There's a difference between a
No,
whale and a cockroach.
they have a common DNA. They have a common DNA
Right.
together that all converges to one thing.
Right.
They know that they have a ancestral history together in a
But
common.
that's everybody.
That's not everybody. It's not
Yeah,
every. It's
we
not every.
saw that
It's
in
not
the
every.
space.
No, okay.
Not every planet.
Well,
Each
So
planet
look-
has their own DNA, their own.
So look,
I'm very good at carrying on the
very
conversation.
least, at the very least, perhaps some would say Zindi aquatic, Zindi reptile, Zindi whatever.
Right.
You know, but it would
Dang it,
still be
Jermaine.
Zindi.
They all had their own ships because they all needed their own different
Environments,
The
too.
atmosphere is different.
Right.
And
Okay.
different controls too. You have a different. The insectoids will have a different controls than the mammalians. You know what
I
I'm
thought
saying?
I was bad.
Y'all,
I'm just gonna finish my meat.
and the aquatic, obviously. Did the aquatics have ships? They did have
Yes, they
ships.
did.
They did.
All right. So, what did we think of some of the things that we saw on Ferengi, like the gambling at the Museum of Haggling, or haggling at the Museum of Gambling, or the library that has been broken up
The
1,000 years?
library. Yeah.
I definitely go into the library, but I need them to make a short trek of the actual Ferengi episode that Boimler saw. I need to see that episode.
Which one? Of
It,
the Secret Love or the
oh yes, baby.
Top
Oh yes.
Warlord?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
I like how he like was introduced to like what a commercial was,
Yeah.
and then product placement
Uh-huh.
inside the actual show.
And then magically he's eating what was advertised on the show.
Well, not
But
magically.
this just goes to show, like we always say, well, flat TV will fall out of fashion once you have holographic holodecks, but I don't think that's the case. I think people will still
Not
watch
in their
TV.
society, at least.
It
No.
takes too much energy. It takes way too much energy to be on the holodeck. First of all,
No, the thing that was funny for me was when they were talking about the library, the fact that they hadn't read a book in their library in over 200 years. It's
So
like,
they can count, but they can't read.
Well, they
Apparently.
can read because they read the rules of acquisition, but that seems to be the only thing they read.
people don't like playing video games now. Even video games are closer to holodecks than TVs are because you become a part of the story. But there's plenty of people
Where
who
do you
don't
get
play
that
video
people don't
games.
like playing video games?
Well, there's plenty of people that don't. I mean, I do, but I'm saying there's plenty of people that don't.
It's Jason. He's
And they
going to
don't-
take something
they
that's
don't get
completely
that.
irrelevant.
No, they don't get that aspect. There's plenty of people who don't get the aspect of, hey, you become part of the story when you play a video game.
I mean, that's to
So-
be expected because you're playing as the main character, or you would hope to be the main character at least.
Well,
mean,
my
there's
point is,
VR.
there's plenty of people that will.
I love it when Keith gets sassy.
Oh, it's
There's plenty
good.
of people that will still watch flat TVs even though there's holodecks. That's my point.
Well,
I feel like Jason is being sincere, but low key baiting Keith.
I'm not baiting Keith. I don't bait. Keith doesn't believe me that space isn't cold, so
What?
we don't go there.
when
when
did I
did he
say
say
space
that?
isn't cold?
Remember we had this whole conversation about space, and I was like, it's not cold, and you wouldn't freeze when you went out in space.
Yeah, you would freeze when you went out in space.
It's not cold. You wouldn't freeze.
Okay, so I'm not a scientist. Why would you not freeze in space?
Unless you were by a sun.
Okay. I mean, how can I put this? We use the
go ahead.
terms. We use the terms warm, cold, hot, or whatever. And
Okay.
when we say those terms, we're generally describing thermodynamics in just
Yes.
a general way. Okay.
Thermal being
And-
temperature, yes.
what- The thermodynamics in the realm of temperature, because there's different aspects.
Okay.
In thermodynamics, space has no temperature. It's not cold. It's not a low temperature. It's just no temperature.
Are you
At
talking
all.
about temperature, or are you talking about like how we define our metrics?
I'm saying
No.
the idea
No.
of temperature, there is no temperature in space.
Yes,
I'm
there is.
confused.
Because
No.
you have radiation, and radiation comes with temperature.
Right. You can something can radiate heat, but space itself doesn't have any temperature. Right?
I'm sorry, how did the changeling
That's what
die
I-
again?
That's
So hold on. So when you go outside and you go into Chicago winter and you're freezing, right? The reason why you're freezing is because there are cold molecules touching you. They're literally ripping heat off of your body. That's called convection. When you transfer heat from one piece of matter to another, that's called convection.
Okay.
In space, there is no matter. There is no convection. There's nothing taking heat away from you at all. There's no
that's the
cold.
vacuum of space.
I
The
thought
vacuum
you
of space doesn't take heat away from you.
Yes,
You
yeah.
you will radiate heat
Yeah.
because that's what your body does, but there's nothing cold taking heat off of your body. You won't freeze
No.
like that in space.
Okay,
Wait,
no,
So what's the temperature in space?
There is
Yeah,
no
what is-
temperature in space.
wait a minute.
It does,
Does
So
that
if
mean
there
it's
is
zero?
no temperature, I don't understand.
so asking what's the temperature in space is like asking what's this how loud is space?
Wait a
right?
minute.
is
According to
loud.
according to the human senses of feel, we gotta have a reference of hot and cold somewhere. So when we leave Earth's atmosphere, what does it feel like? Is what we're asking.
no. All right.
Right.
Thing is, in the vacuum of space, you have it's when you don't have a sun nearby or other something else radiating heat, you have the absence of heat, which vis-a-vis is cold.
freeze. Right.
Yes. No. But you
Yeah.
don't have. Well, no,
There
no, you
cannot
are
be
correct.
no temperature.
You are correct.
Be nice,
You are
boys.
correct. You are correct. You have yes, but there is in thermodynamics there is no temperature in space. It's not zero. It's not cold. It's void.
You're right. It's minus 454 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's how cold That's how cold something can get in space. Once
You
it
just
radiates.
said.
No.
You
No.
just said-
If I bring this cup into space, eventually all this energy will radiate outwards, and you will have no energy. You will get minus 400 something Fahrenheit. Negative.
So you're saying that it's not about hot or cold. It's about energy or no energy.
It's about the fact that you would lose energy in the cup, but the space is not taking energy out of the cup because there's no matter transferring the heat from your body like there is when you walk outside and it's freezing.
To the 6 people that are watching right now, can y'all please comment and tell us what y'all think right now? Because this is a whole conversation. I literally went to Google, as much as I probably shouldn't trust it, says minus 454 degrees Fahrenheit and minus 270 degrees Celsius.
If you look at the spacesuits that have to be worn by our astronauts whenever they leave a space shuttle,
There's cooling systems in them.
Wait,
they regulate the body temperature because
they have cooling systems in them because you will overheat, not because it's cold out in space. They have cooling systems.
Yeah,
you don't freeze in space. It's cool. You have to cool yourself off because you were
he
overheating.
literally just sent me this.
We can't read it.
It's 2.7 Kelvin on negative 456 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's what the temperature of space.
Because Kelvin, the sun is measured in kelvins, and that's a form of temperature, an extreme form of temperature.
If you went out in space, you would more likely burn up from the sun than you would freeze.
If you're within the sun's corona, yes, but
if you left Earth, if you just left Earth and went outside, went outside the atmosphere.
I feel like, wait, Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you being right now? I gotta know.
I'm serious, dude. You got
like 10 out of 10 serious, or picking on Michael serious? Which one?
There is no temperature in space. It's not cold.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. What is cold in space? What about space is cold?
The absence of heat.
Literally, if you look at an asteroid, it's gonna have ice on it. It's that cold.
Right, but you're talking about matter.
Yeah, because what is surrounding that matter is going to affect the temperature of that object. Who is? Oh dear God! It just got better.
Because you said his name.
Welcome to the party, Michael. Join in on the fun with Max and Jason.
Oh my God!
I exist. I wanted everybody.
Michael, I got one question for you. Are you feeling hot right now?
That was a reference. I don't know. I did.
Okay.
I like how
we were
Morgan
discussing what it feels like in space.
What? Yeah, Michael. What does it feel like in space?
Well, space is the absence of everything, including heat, and everything dissipates into the said space. So it would feel icy
and cold.
Right, but my point is there's no convection, right? There's no convection in space.
That's the conversation of energy. We're asking how does it
feel? That's the transference of energy is convection.
Right. So
that's why you feel something. That's why
when you feel something cold, there's no dispute on that. There's no dispute on that. We're talking about how does it feel.
Nice T-shirt, Michael.
I don't think it would feel that cold because there's nothing cold to feel in space. I don't think it would feel that cold. When you say it would feel cold, what are you touching that feels cold?
Well, you would feel literally heat leaving your body. So.
If the heat was leaving your body, you're going to freeze to death.
Heat is leaving your body all the time. That's what if your heat doesn't leave your body, you're going to burn up.
Right. But without an atmosphere to protect that, you're just going to freeze and implode. So
yes.
I'm not saying you will never freeze. Eventually, you'll freeze. But I'm saying it's not like
So you acknowledge that there is temperature in space.
no, there's no temperature in space.
You just
Yes,
said
there
that
is.
eventually you'll freeze.
Yes, I didn't say there was temperature in space. I said you will freeze.
Yo,
Listen,
Look it up. According to thermodynamics, there was no temperature in space.
but where did
Where are
Kelvin's
you
coming
getting
from
this?
then?
Where are you
What?
getting that, man? Where are you getting there's no temperature in space?
I want to know what
Do
a
you mean
Kelvin
deep
is.
space? Do you mean
Are we talking about like dark matter or something?
No.
Are
I
we?
don't know what
Are we?
that's- I
Because
don't know.
most
what
of the heat in
Or
space
some
is from
pocket of the
radiation.
galaxy? Maybe like the void. Maybe like the void where Voyager went through, where there was no stars at all, no nothing. Like
okay,
that.
okay.
can
If
we
you type-
can we just agree Jason is referencing chaotic space?
No. Look, I just looked it up. It said completely empty space would have no temperature since there are no molecules there.
So when we say
It
completely
makes no
empty
sense.
space,
drop it in the chat? Drop the
It
link in the
yes,
chat.
I need to see that
Drop
link.
the link in the chat.
It makes no
Yes.
sense to discuss. Okay, I'm looking this up right here. It
Yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah.
It says it makes no sense to discuss temperature.
Drop the
space.
link in the chat.
I need to see.
I
I
get-
need.
for the people who are watching. 'Cause
I gave
they're
you
invested.
I gave you an analogy with saying
I got
Hold
the
on.
analogy.
I want evidence. I want
Hold on.
evidence.
it fell the post.
I make
gave
a
you, I gave you an analogy saying that
We got 5 people watching.
there's no
and-
sound in space. There's no sound in space, right?
Okay, here we go. What we got? Let me see.
Right? Wait, hold on.
Address.
Just like there's
I-
no sound in space.
I've
Does
read
that-
that when astronauts are in space and out in the sun, the temperature is 255 plus degrees, and
Yeah.
in the shadows,
Cite your
it is
sources.
negative
There you go,
200. Blah, blah,
Morgan.
blah. Just what is the temperature in space? This is July 2003, y'all.
I just posted it, Colton.
This is back when Pluto was a planet.
But
Um,
wait, stop. The next sentence says, of course, even the emptiness of interstellar space has a few hydrogen nuclei, electrons or neutrinos zipping through it, and thus is not truly empty.
if you think about
Right.
hydrogen
Well, I'm
and
saying-
oxygen,
I'm saying-
it's molecules spinning real fast. That's what does
Keith,
it.
Keith, I'm not disrupting that. Just like you can't really get to absolute zero. What I'm saying is what you're describing is molecules of matter in space. Those molecules are holding temperature. So what I'm saying is that theoretically, an empty space with no molecules has no temperature at all.
Are we talking about the void? Like the
Yeah,
void?
yeah.
Y'all remember that episode?
There's obviously always matter somewhere. There's small particles of matter anywhere.
Right.
So those
so
molecules of matter hold a temperature, but space itself doesn't hold temperature at all.
No, you're saying empty space and space. That's two separate things.
Types of space. Because
Well,
if you're talking about the
okay, technically, there's no such thing as empty space.
Exactly.
well,
Yes.
Morgan.
again.
Technically, there's no such thing as empty
Yo.
space. Let's agree.
I wish Marie was here right now.
But
Oh,
but
no,
when
she's better off not being here right now. Trust me.
Oh, right.
when we talk about like a theoretical situation, we are talking about empty space.
You accidentally said hot.
Even though we both know that there is actually no empty space in space because there's always molecules somewhere falling around. There's always
So
somewhere falling around.
can we do this? Can we actually, Jason, can we say what the actual question is?
Yeah.
I literally write Neil deGrasse Tyson and ask for an answer and ask for him. He won't do it because he's scared. And he's probably going to watch and be scared.
My thing is, so what I'm
But I would, that way we can get an actual answer to it.
We can get him on the show.
That was going to be my ask. You know, followers, we're doing this for you. We'll make this beg and plea for you.
okay. What I'm saying is
Jermaine, behave.
actual space has no temperature and it is not cold.
No.
So that's what I'm
Actual
saying.
What do you define as actual space?
Empty space has no
Empty space has no temperature. That's what I'm saying.
but most space is not empty.
So the context of this is, the question is, what is the temperature of empty space? We recognize that there are errant nuclei, there are errant hydrogen molecules in space, which may have a specific temperature. But in empty space, theoretically, what would the temperature be?
There is no temperature. It's null. It's not an
Well,
answerable question. It's like asking how loud it is in empty space.
that is the question you're going to put to Neil. Neil?
Mhm.
Dr.
Yeah.
Tyson.
Yeah.
Oh.
So okay, we could talk about actual space, and I think those small amount of molecules don't even make a difference. It's like,
Can you quickly define for me what you define as space?
bro, I mean, it depends on where you are.
I know, so because clearly I'm not there. So
I would say halfway between here and the moon. Let's just say that.
halfway between here and the moon.
But in the shadow of the sun. In the shadow of the sun. In the shadow.
The shadow of the sun.
No.
Casting of the shadow.
Okay, that was bad. That was bad. Steve. That was bad. Shadow of the earth. How about
It's just
shadow
like
of the
there
earth?
is no actual moonlight.
It's the shadow of the earth.
Yo,
That was bad. No shadow of the sun.
is this a real conversation? Like,
Yeah.
is this real? Like,
It
I
is.
I can't. I haven't even finished my warm pizza yet. Like,
Jason, I believe that your answer is like
You're
I
cutting
like how
out.
you're cutting out at the exact moment you were making a brilliant point.
Right. That moment
Lost
that,
Michael.
that you were rising me to the top, like God shut that shit down.
We should not be talking about tops right now.
Yeah. Speaking of
What-
shutting it down,
What'd you say, Greer? What'd you say, Greer?
back to the episode.
Thank you.
Closing thoughts.
I liked it. It was cool. You know what? The only thing that I would say was it kind of sucked that they just put Mariner back on the same plate as she's been before, the same sort of journey that they've been running this through for the past 4 years. It's like, okay, they could have done something way better with her. She could have, I don't know. She could have did
agreed.
something that was
amazing.
wonderful.
So you
Made a
acknowledge
blink
that the show was
appear
cool.
out of nowhere.
So Boimler didn't really do anything.
Oh, he
Mariner-
experienced Ferengi culture.
Yes,
He was
did.
in his underwear.
He didn't do anything, but it was actually something different for him. It was different for Boimler. So
Mm-hmm. He was in his underwear.
even though he didn't do anything, it was something different for him. So that was kind of growth. Mariner didn't. We saw Tindy and Rutherford sort of mix in their mix. I liked it. It's cool. It's nice to see little Easter eggs here and there. Nice to get some Ferengi in there that didn't annoy me.
Yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I think that I'm wondering what the setup is for Mariner, and what is the kind of the trauma that she's dealing with that's causing her to act out. And so I think this has been like a really big setup for kind of something deeper within her story that's kind of a second tier story. We know that she has a supportive dad. We know that she has a mom that loves her and is giving her every chance in the world. But she's still something innately in her is causing her to be a fuck up. And I think
What if she really didn't crash the ship?
Well, we know that she has trauma from when she was on Deep Space Nine because her best friend got eaten by her boyfriend right in front of her.
And not in a good way?
Not in a good way.
No. But
he's the one that gets kicked off, really?
The question is that point, the real question is like what is that trauma that is stopping her from moving forward? I think they've done a really good job because there are things that we all don't recognize about ourselves, and I think they're continuing this kind of behavioral health theme that has been seen across all of these episodes of Trek, that where people are doing this deeper dive into themselves. And I have my theory is that it will cause her possibly to leave Star Trek at the end of this season.
Well, remember she left Starfleet in the penultimate episode of last season, and ended up coming back. She had been kicked off the Cerritos, sent to Starbase 80, and walked away. Joined the archaeologists, and then it came back to help save the day. So,
and she brought that alliance, but I think that there's something. I think that it's a real leave this time. I don't know if it's I think it might be a real leave this time.
Well,
Or
we
maybe
did get an answer to one question that I had last week. We now know for certain that she and Jennifer the Andorian are broken up.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
We saw them break up when she left the ship, but now we know they did not get back together because
We haven't even
otherwise they
seen
would have been
Jennifer.
the easy couple to go. That was bringing on.
It
Are
would've
we
been
gonna get a
great.
season 5? Are we gonna get a season 5?
Yes, season 5 is in
absolutely.
development. I actually do have news about that. The showrunner did an interview talking about some of the things they're working on for season 5, but then he let it be known that they were only renewed for one season, where typically animation is renewed in 2-season blocks.
Well,
So
maybe
he
because
said-
of the whole strike, it might have affected it.
Yeah, they did renew it back in late May, after the writer's strike had started. But he said, do not be surprised if this time period of Star Trek shows only last 5 seasons, because we know Discovery is only getting 5 seasons.
Yeah.
He's saying maybe Lower Decks only gets 5.
I'm okay with that.
We got something.
Nothing against Lower Decks at all. But what it means is that I'm hoping that another show will take its place.
Like Legacy.
Maybe they'll wake up and have this great epiphany about Prodigy and act like it exists again.
And at least it showed up in the very short trek last week. And by the way, this week's very short trek was supposed to be more of a honoring the animated series, but it went a little bit off the rails, of course. But last week's episode was great. This week's not so much. But yeah, so very short treks is now finished, and we have 4 more weeks of Lower Decks. With next week's episode, a few badgies more.
Yes.
Yay, Badgie!
I'm going to try my best if I'm free on Thursday.
Okay. We got all of that. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Have faith in me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We've been expecting you the past few weeks, so.
Oh, we really were. We actually missed you.
I feel loved. That's my
You know what?
Always. You should feel loved.
This is cut short. So yeah. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
Ooh, I load up Thursday. Might not be able to make it.
We missed you. We missed you, Michael. We missed you, Michael. Don't let it get to your head.
Okay, on that, good night.
To me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not gonna ever say it on the internet. Yeah, never. yeah.
Oh my god.
I was watching-
I'm sorry. Wait. There was a shadow of a church.
Okay. What?
William has questionable
I didn't
ideas
catch
about
that
what he
one.
puts.
I didn't
William
catch
has
that
questionable ideas about what he puts on the internet.
Oh, I remember that episode.
Uh-huh.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
Wait. What? Wait.